chance of finishing the week strong. So please do stick around with us. Now, shifting gears to our focus of the day being tea. Last week, we left it at the KTDA offices where we got a better understanding of what happens to a tea once it leaves the factory. Now we want to understand what happens in the Mombasa tea auction process and how the process brings together the three main key players. So pack your bags, off to Mombasa County we go. Well, it's time for another exciting feature right here at Kenya's Gold. And as you can see, I do have my notebook and pen, and I bet you need to do the same because there's going to be a lot of learning in this session. Now, speaking of the tea sector, last week we got a better understanding of what happens to our tea the moment it leaves the factory, and we did have a session at the KTDA offices sampling the different samples that have been brought in by the factories, and also now understanding that after that it goes to the Mombasa auction process. Now we decided we are not going to leave you hanging. We are going to pack our bags and head all the way to Mombasa, and that is exactly where we are right now, and we are about to witness live how the Mombasa auction process happens. And just to let you know that the Mombasa tea auction process is actually the largest in the world. So come along with me. Let us see how the key players, who is the producer, the broker, and the buyers, participate in the Mombasa tea auction. This is Kenya's Gold.
Very fine, thank you. How are you? Very fine, thank you. My name is Sisa Vairo. I'm the chairman, Tea Brokers Association, Mombasa Tea Auction, and also a tea broker working for Union Tea Brokers Limited. We have taken our viewers through a series of programs when it comes to tea, all the way from the farm to the factory to what happens after it leaves the factory. And now we're here and they're hearing the word Mombasa auction process. Please kindly describe what that means. Thank you very much. You are the right place because this is what I have done for the last 30 years. I've been operating in this auction, and at least I have what it takes to understand what the process is. Having been to the factories and having seen the teas in the factories, then the process starts because the teas will be transported to Mombasa and they will be warehoused in one of the defined warehouses, because tea is not warehoused with any other goods. For tea to be warehoused, it has to be in a specific warehouse which is clearly defined that is tea only. You know, tea is a commodity which is hygroscopic, and what would happen is if you stored it with other goods, most likely to take the scent of anything, aromas and all the smells that would come around. So it's a food product also, so you store it as a food product. So when the tea lands in the warehouse, the producer, who is the owner of the teas, will be notified that his tea is in the warehouse, and he will, or every other week, be allocating what he wants to put in for the auction. The auction is a platform where we meet the producer, who is the owner of the goods, who brings the goods, allocating the responsibility of selling to the broker, and the buyers coming to the auction to buy the tea. So those are the three, I would call them the three key players of the auction. Let's talk about arriving to the price of the tea. How does that happen, and what is the science involved? Okay, it's a process. Like I said, when the tea gets to the warehouse, the brokers will get all the teas that they will catalog or they will list for that particular auction, and they will get samples of all those teas. They will taste all those teas, and they will distribute the samples of those teas to the buyers who operate in the auction. So the broker has the sample, taste the tea, and the buyer who is coming to the auction will also have a sample which he'll taste and qualify whether it meets their requirements. Then the other thing is that the broker, after tasting his teas, he will give it what I would call an indicative price, and that is what in the selling terms we call a valuation of that tea. And as the broker now comes to the auction, he has a referencing point. What would be the valuation of this tea. If just the way you go to a market buying goods and you meet a seller, they will tell you this is the price of my product. This being a public auction and where the highest bidder gets the goods, then there is a referencing point. How far down would the broker go? How high up would the buyer buy? Is their choice. The limit to the top is undefined, so long as the buyers have got the money to pay for the teas. Yes.
Now, what causes the difference in prices? Because I understand the prices change. You know, the price that we get next week is not necessarily the price this week. What leads to that variation?
Tea is a very dynamic commodity, and the prices of tea depend on a lot of things. The socio-dynamics, events in the world will touch on us. Remember that as a country we produce a lot of tea, but we drink very little of that tea. So we are dependent on foreign consumers, or the foreign markets, if we may call them that. So what would happen is that, for example, take a country like Sudan. Sudan is one of our key buying countries. Sudan goes to war, then there is that uncertainty. There is no flow of cash. So that would definitely affect the demand in the auction, and that will ultimately affect the price that you get in the auction, because the competition goes down, because Sudan is out. Ukraine goes to war, Russia goes to war, the same thing happens. So what is happening in the consuming countries has a lot of impact on what price we get in the auction. The other thing is the competing countries that are producing tea. We have countries like Sri Lanka, we have got countries like India. We are not the only producers of tea. In the neighborhood, for example, we have Uganda, though most of their teas come still to Mombasa. So all the auction, what quality are you putting in the auction? All teas are not the same. When we talk about tea, some of us think that tea is just tea. But it's not just tea, and that is why we taste the tea. So depending on what quality you put in the market, then that also will affect the price that you fetch in the market. You realize that even as you see what is happening in the auction today, you'll notice that there are teas which are coming for sale and who at very low prices, but they are not takers. Why? Because they don't suit what they want. Yeah. There are others which are coming, and then the price is just going up and up and up. Then you ask yourself a question: why can this guy take this cheap tea? Yeah. And he's going for a very expensive tea because of the quality they are looking for. Right. So price is tied to the quality of the tea, the supply of the tea, and also the socio-economic dynamics globally.
Now, as the chairman of the Tea Brokers Association, we'd like to know how many brokers do we have, and also what does it take to be a certified broker, so that we make sure we're dealing with the right people in the tea market.
Thank you very much because of asking that question. The right people in the market. Brokers who are qualified to be brokers. First is a registered company under the laws of Kenya. Then that license and passing by the Tea Board of Kenya with their requirements. Then after getting that, you come to the EATTA for registration as a member of the association, so that you can access the auction. Because currently we have got one auction center, the biggest in the world, I would say.
Here in Mombasa?
Yes, it's the biggest auction in the world by volumes. And also it's a different kind of auction because we trade teas from multiple countries from Africa. So it's got its own very distinct kind of, what would I call them, values comparatively. Because if you look at Sri Lanka, it's a one country's auction. If you look at most of the Indian auctions, they are again one country.
There's a lot of technology that is involved, and you have a lot of data that you have to stay up to date with. How do you make sure that you are in tandem with modern day technology?
Since the last almost now, this is the fourth year, we went electronic, and in only 3 years we have tried to now again, even before we had the life of the first system coming to an end. We have adopted a more modern system so that we are in touch. We are moving in tandem with technology. But my only take is one. This country is a hub of technology, and Kenya is a hub. Where are our people? to do this kind of jobs. Where our institutions who should be on the lead to be telling us this is where we are in technology and tapping from all these sectors that we have. We've talked about the green gold of Kenya. Then we should be asking ourselves, do we have to import technology really in this age?
Now, when you sit down behind this computer as a broker, what's the first place that you go to and what do you see?
This will send a code to my phone. I'm a registered user, so I'll get my code on the phone, and that's a security measure. Then that is what I'll log in with. After we do that, then I'll get to the dashboard. The dashboard, as a broker, I'll go to the auction. I'll go to the auction. The next sale I'm going to sell is this catalog. We have got 4 windows currently, 5 windows. So depending on which window you want to get to, you just choose it. So in this case, I want to monitor this window number 2, 48M2. You can see the sale there is written 48M2. And yes. Yes. And then when I come here, it will be showing me the auction catalog, my sale, my lots and the like. Then I want to check how far I am from selling. This is the list of the brokers who are today coming to the auction here. So on this one, then I can be able to check when I'm selling, when am I due to sell. So if you look at this, we have got the number of lots here. We have the number of lots. And for me, I think I'll be coming to sit here within the next 1 hour. So you can see 0112 there. So when that time comes, then the system will allow me to be able to come in as a seller. Right, and it will present all the T's that we have printed in the catalog, what we allocated and uploaded into the system, and with all my asking prices and the like. Then for a buyer, he'll be seeing which option is he seeing here. You'll also be looking at that. He's seeing the same. If you look at what is happening here, you can see this 145 is here. So you can see that is there. And this 133 is what they are bidding on here. You can see. So whatever is running in the auction, this is the buyer side of it. So for the buyer, he will be accepting or buying and bidding on his T's from that side, and the same is being for me. I'm controlling it from this side.
Now, as a buyer, the way on the dashboard, you as a broker, you went to the auction. As a buyer, when I log in on the dashboard, where do I go? Still on the auction.
It's still on the auction, and he will also be logging with the same procedure. And he has to be registered, his address and everything with the system and in the database. So you can't just come in and log in into the system. So you will get, is a process.
So what process does a buyer have to go to be part of the Mombasa auction process?
To be part of the auction. All the buyers who are operating in the auction are members of the EATTA. So they have to register with EATTA. So after registering with EATTA, they will get a buyer's code. And that is what they will be using for buying purposes.
Any challenge you face as being a broker in the tea sector?
Definitely, in any business there are challenges. There are challenges that come with the business. One is the way the public view the tea brokers in Mombasa, which we feel is a misplaced kind of thinking. Because as you have seen a transparent sale or how we run the business on this table. One is that misconception of the public that the brokers are cartels. Brokers are not cartels, and is very painful because we know that we work for our producers very honestly and looking forward to achieving the best we can for this country.
Talk to the young person back at home who anytime they hear about agriculture, kitu cha kwanza kinakuja kwa kichwa ni shamba, ni jembe na kulima tu. Yet there's vast opportunities.
The young men back there, agriculture is not only farming, taking a jembe and going to the farm. There's a lot of technology required in agriculture. Like what we are talking about here, we are talking about technology which we have to go all the way to other countries to look for. The young man understand what your country produces, take advantage of that, understand it up with the market, visit the auction center, come learn what happens as far as tea is concerned, go learn what happens as far as coffee is concerned, provide the solutions from our institutions so that we can see developed by University of Nairobi, developed by Strathmore, developed by Kimathi University, and all the institutions.
There you've had it right here from Mombasa auction process. We have understood the process that happens during the auctioning, and also once again a message to the young people. There's vast opportunities in the space of agriculture. This is the perfect time to take advantage. Now keep watching Kenya's Gold. We do have a lot more in store for you.